How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm actually detailing my plans from the ground up as to how I'm going to scale my business to that $1 million a year profit rate. And really, my plans may change, things may change, the offers may change, different things might not stay exactly how I'm saying in this video. But if anything, I just want this video to be sort of a perspective shifter for you, how I'm thinking as an entrepreneur, the next steps that I'm taking in my business. And I assume that there's going to be some lessons there for people who are at a beginner stage or some sort of a more intermediate stage. Where did my pen go? I had a blue marker for this. I don't know where it just went. Oh, I have it in my pocket. Okay, there we go. So yeah, if you don't know me, my name is Trey Cockrum, and I have two businesses. I have an education business and I have a done-for-you marketing business. And the done-for-you marketing business helps people generate sales calls for higher ticket offers of any kind, masterminds, consulting offers, coaching offers, services, whatever it is like that will generate sales calls for you. And if you don't have a sales team, help you do that as well. And then eventually we could even help you turn your offer into something that can scale. So then we have this system to generate sales calls, then a offer that could be sold 10 times in a day or once in a day, and it doesn't affect your business. And then the education side helps people start their own marketing agencies with similar offers to what I just described to you. If you're a beginner or an intermediate agency owner, you can hop into one of our programs. We help you scale to that $10,000, $20,000 a month level by mastering organic marketing and sales, so that you can get to a point where you've got $10,000, $20,000 a month recurring coming in, so you can then scale the way that we are with paid ads. So really, before I get into any of this, I want to tell you, first and foremost, the most important thing that I've implemented in my business is probably just one key concept, and that's focus. And those of you who are familiar with the internet marketing space, this is a very common thing. Like, look, you just want to have one thing that is doing really well. Maybe you haven't heard that before. Like, maybe you've heard that you should, play with Shopify and play with Amazon and play with investing and play with, all these different things mixed. But the problem with that is that, you only have so much energy, and you only have like so many places where that energy can go. And so really, at some point, I kind of just made a creed with myself. I kind of signed this kind of mental contract that I'm not going to change what I'm doing until I net $1 million profit. And so I've been focused on these two things ever since. So obviously we've got the education side, and we've got upsells, so people can buy a more high tier thing there. So we've got our beginner program, which helps people go from start to $10,000 a month, or if you have an existing agency, you can use our organic models. They work for even coaching businesses or anything, just how to build a platform for yourself, get calls coming to you so you can sell your service. And then if you want to scale, we have the 7-figure marketing consultant. So you've got the 6-figure marketing consultant, 7-figure marketing consultant. 7-figure marketing consultant, I just got another client in today for that. It is the next step offer where we help you scale with paid ads and help you build on a sales team, build on a team for delivery, and just go nuts. And help you build out at least one $10,000 to $20,000 offer that you could deliver as an agency owner. And once you have a $10,000 to $20,000 offer you could deliver as an agency owner, you just sell one of that a month, one every other month, and it's just this huge bonus check that you can pour right back into ads or into your team or whatever you need. So that's what we do there. The other is my own agency, where I have a service where I help people generate sales calls. And the next step is ill-defined right now. We just have this one thing, and again, I sell this for about $10,000 to $20,000. And then if they want us to run ads for that process as well, so we'll build the funnel, we'll build the website, the landing pages, the call scheduling software, everything like that, train them on sales and everything. But if they want us to run ads, that's an upsell. So I guess the next step could be us running their ads. So that's the two things I've focused on for the past year and a half, 2 years. And the month before last month, we collected $80,000 total. In cash, in credit, if you count all the payments that are coming in the next 30 days from that month. Straight off, we collected just under $60,000. We had $20,000 coming, right? So we had a 7-figure run rate month, which is, a run rate is, how much it takes for you to be at a certain level yearly. So like $80,000 a month is just about that $1 million a year run rate. And so we had a $1 million a year month before last month. I had to cut it in half. We did about $45,000 last month. This is July 1st when I'm recording this. And that was literally because we couldn't handle the scale of this. So my job now, I'll be describing to you. I want to tell you what my plan is to be able to handle that scale and be able to nurture my business and what roles I'll be playing in the next 6 months to a year to 2 years to get to $1 million a year profit consistently without the entire machine breaking. So there's a lot involved here, but not really. It's an interesting thing. Once you have built the machine, it gets to a point where you just have to feed it the right ingredients and it will go for you. It really is kind of like owning a really nice pet, or like a horse. You want to feed it the right things so it can sprint the right level, or owning a nice car, you want to go get its oil changed and make sure that it's up to date and running smoothly. Except instead of it running at a certain rate, you can double that or quadruple that if you make the correct decisions. So, let me just share. So again, we've got our 2 branches to the business, and my main goal is to do a couple things. First of all, it's team. So right now, my biggest focus is building out my team. I am totally comfortable cutting into my profit margins to have a team that wants to see this business succeed as much as I do. Let me just make sure that, okay, cool. I said to make sure my audio sounded okay. And I'm willing to spend money to do that. We've got more cash than ever in the business bank account. We've got the 6-figure marketing consultant, 7-figure marketing consultant. We've got this service that we deliver, and that's generated like a buttload of cash. And I've done it with very little overhead, just taking the sales calls myself, doing a lot of the delivery myself, doing a lot of the teaching on the education side myself, just doing everything myself. And so my goal is to bring on a team, and specifically the things that I want to handle are really, it's 2 things. It's sales and it's delivery. So I want a sales guy, 1 or 2 salespeople that I'm intentionally training. I've done probably over 1,000 sales meetings at this point, and so I'm just going to make this guy an absolute hound and just fill his calendar, 4 to 6 sales calls a day, and just have him crushing it for me and for the company. And he's going to make 20-30% commission on that. I'm also going to give him creative freedom to come up with his own ways to attract clients, so that then if he has his own method, his own paid ads method, running ads online, or his own organic methods that he's testing to get new clients and new students, then I'll pay him even higher commission. So I want to incentivize that creativity for that member in our team, and that's the plan there. So I've already interviewed a handful of people, and I've narrowed it down to somebody, and it's now my job to begin to train this person. So that's the first thing that I'm doing. In July, I want him to take at least 10 sales calls for us and just see how those go. I'm going to have him record them, I'm going to review them, make sure that he's handling it right, make sure he's following our general guidelines. We don't really have a script, but I do have guidelines for how I handle these calls to make sure that they're the most effective and that we have the best experience for the customer as well as the most revenue on our end. So that's the first thing that I'm doing. I want to bring on a team. Next thing is delivery, and primarily delivery is on the more done-for-you, the service side. The education side is a pretty easy thing to deliver. It's just a program. They hop in, they'll pay however much and just, be a part of that, and I don't really have to do much to those people other than we have a weekly accountability call where everybody joins on one big Zoom room, and I just help people, and the different coaches in our community come on board on that as well, and they're just making sure that everybody's moving forward, having a great experience, and are succeeding with the program. And then we also got just 1 or 2 coaches in that community that are just active in that Facebook group, as well as myself in that Facebook group. So it's just a really easy thing to maintain. Really, the course just needs updating every, once a month, once every other month with new content if there's anything that has changed or broken based on, different things that are happening. So that's an easy thing to deliver. So delivery is more on the service side. Right now, I do most of the delivery for our clients that come to my company, Koa Media. So we've really got 2 different companies here. We've got Koa Media, and we've got the 6-figure or 7-figure marketing consultant community. Those are 2 companies. Koa Media is the service delivery side, where we build sales call funnels for people. 6-figure marketing consultant, or the marketing consultant community, or whatever you want to call it. I honestly don't even know what that business entity is called, but that's the education side, and that's doing fine. So delivery is on the agency side. If I can get a team that delivers and a team that sells for me on the agency side, I'm set. At that point, the next pillar, and I'll call these pillars really, is ads. So I want to be, right now, probably 20% of my business comes from paid ads right now. I've got a brilliantly made organic platform that I use: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I've got these different things working for us. And we did $80,000 in a month, about probably $35,000, $40,000 of that being services, the rest being education. It's split kind of right down the middle. And my goal is that I am doing, I I'm pouring probably 50% of our profits just right back into the front to kind of create this loop of revenue. So what I want to happen is I want a sale to turn into more sales and for this loop to just kind of come into play. Because right now the problem with organic is a couple things. First of all, I can't really control the demographic or somebody's perception of me on organic. They can they can dig in, they can find certain things I've said and kind of unsell themselves because there's certain things maybe about me or about my company or things that they've heard that are kind of false beliefs that break it for them. An example could be on the service side. They don't really feel like they can handle that many sales calls. They don't realize that I can help you build a sales team, all that stuff. And then the education side, they think it's over their head. They don't understand. It's too complex. There's so many moving parts. They're a beginner, whatever. So the great thing about ads is I can actually control my appearance a little bit more and control who is coming down that process. And another thing too is I tend to attract mostly young guys who are wanting to start a business instead of people who are kind of already in it and just want to scale. And that's who I really want to work with. Unfortunately, on organic, and you've seen a big shift, for example, in just the content that I put out maybe in the past year. I've gone from how to start to how to level up, how to just take that next huge leap. And that's one big thing that I want to do with ads as well, is really control the fact that I'm bringing on people who have maybe more money to spend or are more invested in this stuff. And that's one thing with ads is I can target that and get really clean with that. Another thing is that I can, again, reinvest profits. So we kind of create this loop that just goes faster and faster and faster. And it gets easier and easier and easier for me to, grow my business. If I can conquer the ads thing for both sides of the business, the education side and the service delivery side, everything's done. Honestly, at that point, it's just butter to run this thing. Because I can just give those calls to a sales guy who's been trained or take some of them myself. I'll probably take the higher tier, the top 10%, the people that look really good. I'll take those calls maybe just to make sure we get them in. But the rest of them will just go to the team. So that's it. Really, honestly, that's it. If I can get team and ads built, $1 million a year is just going to be freaking easy. Because, my guesstimation is it'll take probably $20,000 to $30,000 a month in ad spend for me to, generate back at least $100,000 maybe. And plus all the upsells and all the extra business that we do, that should get us to $1 million a year easily. So yeah, that's kind of my goal. I want to keep running the organic side, Facebook, YouTube, all these things. But I want my agency to be attracting clients consistently from paid. I want the education side to be consistently attracting clients from paid. And I want both to feed each other. Because one of the nice things about my education business is I had the forethought to actually sell it through phone calls so that I can then get really good at those calls and then also teach our clients who want us to generate sales calls how I'm doing it and almost use the education side as a case study to build leverage so that when I do sell these services, I have, I can say, hey, we've generated X amount of revenue from this exact same process for our own company. So I want to build that for you. Yeah, it's just a matter of building and leverage into both. So what's nice is the education side grows as the agency side grows. The agency side grows as the education side grows because they're both kind of feeding each other in terms of the case study there. People can look at the education side and be like, all right, he's generating sales calls, selling a nice offer. I'd like to be doing the same thing. How do I do that? And on the education and the agency side, people will see, the students will see, I'll post in the community, say, hey, we just closed another $15,000 deal. Here's a breakdown of the client. And actually in that course, I record all of our sales calls and put them in there, at least all the ones that $10,000 or more that paid us up front. I'll just put all those sales calls in there just because they're really cool to watch if you're a beginner. So it just helps both sides. And then if you introduce paid into that, you've just got this crazy formula that just goes nuts. And that's where I want to get. I want to get to a point where I'm consistently attracting clients through paid ads. Right now, I can do it. We can attract a client for the service delivery side for anywhere from $1,800 to $4,000, depending on what we're selling them. And I know my cost per call. I know how much it costs to acquire a call. I know what my close rate is, and therefore I can take those two numbers, divide how many calls it takes by how much it costs to get a call or something like that, and then I know how much it costs to sell. And then the education side is mostly organic. I've played with paid there, but I would love to make that consistently a paid thing. So yeah, that's it, you guys. And what's interesting too, I just want to kind of talk about my role as an entrepreneur and the different things that I'm going through as an entrepreneur and the sort of the shifts that I'm making in my mentality, in my business, in my life. What's interesting is all of this starts internally. I was at $2,000 or $3,000 a month in profit not that long ago. And really, you'd think I've made these huge jumps or like changed huge things or made like big decisions that move me forward. But really, it's just like consistently putting in just brutally hard, focused work and being willing to just eat crap like for 2 years. And that's how I got here. I've had to deal with crazy, just huge refunds from clients that I just was not ready to take on. Massive expenses that I wasn't expecting. Taxes. I've had to deal with team members leaving or not being loyal or being dishonest, or certain clients of mine, abusing, what we offer, or, there's all kinds of things that you're going to deal with. But if you can just stay focused and you can just really, if you know how to summarize the value that you bring to people and their businesses, then your only job is just to say, all right, how do I build systems around that? And how do I build leverage into that process so that I'm less attached to it? And then how do I take it so that it doesn't require my time for it to succeed? And that's the next step for me. I want to be completely disassociated from this thing to the point where I can take a week off. I've actually got a week off planned this month. And my goal is to make $15,000, $20,000, hopefully $30,000 that week. And I've just got an Airbnb rented somewhere in the mountains somewhere, and I'm probably not even going to bring my phone. I'm probably just going to bring my journal, my Bible, and maybe like some audiobooks on my Kindle, and just zen out. And hopefully that still happens. My goal is that I can do that this month. And so when you begin to setting those sorts of goals and those sorts of like expectations for yourself and for your business, it really pushes you forward. And for me, it's like it kind of is just as simple as having an offer or a service, a product or a service that works, that you've sold before, you've got proof of concept. Once you've got proof of concept, just start the loop. Just put that money back into paid or build the product better, or once you've got your personal expenses met, really all I have is my car and this apartment, and that's about $4,000 a month right there, plus maybe food, which is like $4,300 a month. That's like, where we're at in business, that's really not that big a deal. It's kind of just nothing, actually. And you get to a point where like you've got your personal made, you've got certain investments that you've got going for you, and now it's just like, all right, how big can we get this thing? And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sitting on the canyon of that right now. Like it's July 1st, and today, first day into the month, it's already like an $8,000 day, which is really cool. And my goal is just to take all of that revenue, scoop it up, put it right back into the business where it belongs, and make smart investments into the business. Team, ads, product and service development, things that actually make me more effective as a leader, different trainings, working with people, and education on myself and my mentality and myself as a person, as an entrepreneur. Because what I've noticed is that once you've got a proven process, you know what you're selling and how you're selling it, it's really just, it comes down to you, it comes down to your standards, it comes down to what you are willing to settle for as a human being and as an individual. And that's why, on this channel I preach so often that it's totally an internal battle. There's nothing about this process that is external. Everything about this process is an internal. What's your standards? What are you willing to settle for? What are you going after here? And what's really the long-term goal for you? And really, for me, my long-term is to build this and enjoy the process. I'm no longer attached to any sort of an outcome, whether we hit $1 million a year or not. I'm learning so much and I'm growing as an individual and becoming the version of myself that I painted to become, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when I really started to dive into entrepreneurship as a teenager. And my goal, I have certain goals in place, certain materialistic and certain things like that really push me forward. Like, certain cars I want to own, certain watches I want to own. Like this right here, this is a Rolex Daytona, and it's just totally material. It doesn't help your life at all. But, to have those sorts of goals in place, it forces you to become the kind of person that's worthy of those things. And what's interesting is most people, they have a proven product, a proven model, something that's working for them, but for some reason, there's this weird thing going on in their head. They're afraid to scale it. They're afraid to go all in on it. And ultimately, it comes down to the fact that you don't trust yourself. And so if really there's one message I want to give here, it's that I'm at a point where I completely trust myself. And that's what confidence is. It's building trust with yourself. It's not arrogance, it's not ego, it's not blind confidence. That's really what arrogance is. It's just you've consistently shown up in the ways that you want to show up in your life and in your business, and therefore you can trust yourself with the responsibility of pouring everything you have back into the system. And until you've got that, it's really hard to grow. So, I've built proof of concept. I've sold the services that we sell many, many, many times over. The education stuff that we've sold many, many, many times over, I've got proof that it works. We generate testimonials, success stories. I'm happy. I feel like my integrity is completely in place as an entrepreneur. I love what I do. I can't wait to bring on more clients, more students, everything like that, because I'm excited to see them succeed. On a non-revenue level, you have to be excited about what you're doing, and you have to just be obsessed with it. And then you apply that obsession to like a system that works for you, and you just have this like powerhouse of a business that just goes nuts for you. And if you are 20 years old and younger, which I know most of my audience is like 16 to like 22 men, I would encourage you, while you have the margin, I was lucky enough that I had mentors and people helping me that gave me the guidance to just go all in on this stuff. Because while you have that margin in your life, while you have 8 hours a day to do frick all, spend it working on something meaningful, and there's almost no way you can. One of the people that we just brought on, for example, we have our education side, right? We've got the 6-figure marketing consultant that helps you scale organically, $10,000, $20,000 a month. 7-figure marketing consultant help you build a team, sales processes, delivery processes, and ads to really get yourself just cranking. One of the guys that just joined the 7-figure, he's a 16-year-old dude, man, and he paid us upfront for this thing. He's got the means, and he's ready to scale to that next level, and he's 16. And just the fact that I can even work with that kind of a person just blows my freaking mind all the time. Nonetheless, the fact that, I'm actually going to help him get to that next level. He's doing like $15,000 a month right now at 16. And don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't be like, oh man, I wish. Stop wishing. Just start acting, start going hard. If you're a beginner and you don't know what you're doing, neither do I. Neither does anyone. None of us know what we're doing. We're just being fed messages from our customers and the people that help us move forward. My confidence comes from the fact that I have coming up on 1,000 people probably that have paid me and been happy that they paid me. That's where my confidence comes from. And all I have to do is listen to their needs, and I'll know what I need to do. There's nothing of me here. And you got to understand that it's not something you build. It's something that you are a vessel for. And then it opens you up to realize, okay, well, I just need to start right now. Like, why am I waiting? What's wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. You just have the wrong perspective. You think that you need to do something before you start. You think that you need to wait on the right opportunity, or wait on the right person, or wait on this person to apologize to you, or wait on, the right amount of money to be in the bank to invest in the next thing. Or there is no right time. There was never a right time. It has never felt 100% perfect and correct, and it never will. And I've accepted that reality, and that's allowed me to move much quicker than most people at my age and in business. So that's how I'm going to get to $1 million a year on a technical level and a mindset level. Because mindset is a huge thing. You have to have the right perception of yourself, the right perception of money, and the right perception of the market in order to do something like this. And really, to be honest with you, $1 million a year in business isn't even that much. Like, there's people out there doing $50, $100 million years, and that's freaking, that's cool. That's, to me, starting to get cool. For me right now, we have a lot of money in the business bank relative to the expenses we have. But a lot of money is a completely relative thing. And you'll notice that you almost adjust your standard of what is a lot. So when I started, I had it written on a note. I was like, I want to get to $15,000 a month profit. I want to buy a Rolex, and I want a certain car. I never got the car because I just figured I don't really need it. But I did get a few Rolexes. And I had this idea in my brain of what I wanted to get. What's crazy is by the time I got there, I realized that the next step is not that hard. So I was at $15,000. And I was like, all right, let's just do 30. It's not that hard, so let me just push it. And because I had the margin as a young guy with very few obligations, I was able to push it. So if you are just starting or you've got time, leverage that time. If you don't have time, if you're an older gentleman or woman and you've got years on you, which I respect, you need to open up margin in your life to make this happen. This has taken everything. I've gone all in, burned the boats, no no questioning my decision making. I just make a decision and I cross my darn fingers. And that's how you have to operate. You can't think so much. There's this parable of two men on speedboats. There's one man on a speedboat, or there's two men on a speedboat. There's an island about, I'd say, 500 yards out or something like that. And the one guy on the speedboat's kind of sitting here bobbing on the water, and he's like adjusting his speedboat a little left, a little right, a little back to the left, and he's just kind of waiting to go so that the second he revs, he just goes straight to the island and saves time and money and everything. And then there's this other clown who just revs, and he just hits the waves, and he knocks over, and he bashes into crap, and he gets bruised, but he gets back on, and he revs again. And what's true about this is that every time in that scenario, this second guy is always going to make it to the island first. He's always going to make it to the island first. This first guy, though he might seem smart to most of Western culture, few risks, hedge your bets, make sure that all this bull crap. The problem is, though he may make it to the island eventually, this second guy, he's willing to get bruised. He's willing to go all in and just figure it out along the way. And he gets to the island years before this guy does, because good luck aiming your little speedboat when the island is 500 yards away. And that's what most entrepreneurs are doing. And that's why, frankly, in all humility, that's why I've been able to move as fast as I have compared to most 20-year-old kids who are still just, eating popcorn, working at Kroger or whatever. It's because I was willing to hedge my bets, go all in, burn the boats, and just move forward. And then I began to raise my standards and raise my standards and raise my standards. And honestly, every time I got a new level of money in my bank, I was like, that's cool. Let's go for the next. Oh, okay, let's go for the next. I kept setting more and more goals. And I realized that it's not about your goals, it's about your standards. So when you have good standards and you mix those standards and that mentality with a good system and offer some services that you're proud of that you can deliver at scale, dude, $1 million a year is honestly, it's gonna be a standard for me in my business this time next year at the absolute latest. At the absolute latest. Because I see the trajectory. I'm a totally, logical thinker here, and I don't think it matters so much where you are now and what you're doing now. I think it more so matters the trajectory that you're on. And so let's say, for example, that this month compared to 6 months ago, you've added another $4,000 a month to your business or something, right? Well, you're on a pretty solid trajectory. That's, it's about, $800 a month, every month, month on month, added to your revenue, added to your bottom line. So I don't look at the next step. I don't look at that. I look at what's the trajectory that we're on. And I kind of allow that trajectory to tell me what to do. I started at $3,000 a month. My goal now, I want to do at least $100,000 a month so that we can gross, $1 million a year. So from 3 to 100. Most people, they're like, okay, I'm at 2, or 2, that's a 3, a 2. I want to get to 4. I want to make this jump. But they don't think about trajectory. They don't think about what that 2 to 4 means. If you've gone 2 to 4, you can probably go to 6. So implement a trajectory mentality. And it just opens up worlds for you. So I tell this to clients and students all the time, dude, you are on such a powerful trajectory right now. Don't slow down. Don't think there's something you should change. Adopt a trajectory mentality, raise your standards, go all in, no reservations, burn the boats, build a life, a business that in roles that you enjoy being in. I love pouring into my team, pouring into my community, pouring into my clients. I love being a visionary. I think I've been blessed with just a level of confidence and a perspective that allows me to be a solid leader and a solid sort of ground shaker for some of the people that I work with, do business with, and that I employ, or maybe that even pay me, or that I pay, for their help. So my goal is always just to help people raise their standards, raise what they're doing, and break through the next couple walls in their life and in their business. And I really think business is just a means to grow yourself. And when you really view it through that lens, it gets even more fun, because then you're making money, but then you're also becoming a better version of yourself. And that's a really exciting thing to be a part of. So thanks so much for watching. That is my plan to get $1 million a year. It's very simple. You can see that most of what's going on in my head is it's completely internal. There's very little that I have to change in my business. Sales guy, delivery, boom, easy, done, run the ads, we're there. It's really all about my mentality, and I'm developing that every day. That is your most important investment, is your perspective. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna end my rant here. Hope you enjoyed this video. No plugs in this video, just very straight, real content. Not gonna sell you anything, nothing like that. I just wanted to share where I'm at, where my brain is at, where I hope to get, and how I plan to get there. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video.